Hi class, today we're going to talk about short-term financing. There are 6 main types of financing that we'll consider, including trade credit, family and friends, commercial banks and short-term loans, factoring accounts receivable, commercial paper, and credit cards. To start off, we'll talk about trade credit. Trade credit is when you buy goods or services immediately and pay for them later. So let's say you own a men's clothing store. You'd buy a bunch of ties at one time and then you'd pay for them later. Every time you use trade credit, you get an invoice that states the terms, and it might look something like this. 2/10 means that if you pay within the first 10 days, you'll get a 2% discount, and it might say net 60 or net 30, however many days you've agreed upon to pay it back within. So net 60 means that you need to pay back the full amount within 60 days. This is one of the most common types of short-term funding for businesses because it's the least expensive and most convenient. If a company doesn't have good credit, or if they just don't have a credit history, the trade credit supplier might require a promissory note. A promissory note is a written contract with the promise to pay the supplier a specific sum of money at a definite time. Next, we have friends and family. Sometimes businesses will go to friends and family to obtain financing. This is really not recommended, however, because it can create problems among relationships. If a business does decide to do this, it's very important to agree to specific loan terms, to put the agreement in writing, and to arrange for repayment the same way that you would do for a bank loan. Next, we have commercial banks and short-term loans. There's secured loans, unsecured loans, lines of credit, revolving credit agreement. And if you're not able to get a loan from a bank, a business might go to the commercial finance companies. A secured loan simply means that it's backed by collateral, such as a home or some sort of property. If the borrower doesn't pay the loan off, then the lender can take possession of the collateral. An unsecured loan is more difficult to get because it doesn't require collateral, and usually you can only get an unsecured loan if you have really good credit history and oftentimes a relationship with the bank from prior loans. Next, there's a line of credit where a firm is given a set amount of unsecured short-term funds. And a line of credit is not guaranteed to a business. And the last type of short-term loan from commercial banks is the revolving credit agreement. And this is a line of credit that's guaranteed, but it generally comes with a fee. These can be good options when you have unexpected cash needs. If a business isn't able to get a loan from a bank, they might consider a commercial finance company. And these companies offer short-term loans to businesses who offer them tangible assets as collateral, such as a plant or equipment or property. This type of company is mostly just used if someone can't get a loan from a bank. Next is factoring accounts receivable, which is selling accounts receivable for cash. What does this mean? This means that Sally, who works at a men's clothing store, sells a whole bunch of ties to customers, and all those customers pay with credit. Some of the customers may be slow in paying their bills, so a large amount of money is due to the firm. This results in the firm having a large accounts receivable. It's the money from the items that have been purchased already, but the money just hasn't yet come in. The factor is intermediary who agrees to buy the firm's account receivable at a discount for cash. Factoring is most common in the clothing and furniture business, generally small retail stores. Next, we have commercial paper, which is an unsecured promissory note for $100,000 or more that's due in less than 270 days. This comes in the form of an unsecured promissory note, and it's generally only an option for large corporations that have really good credit ratings. Commercial paper is often used if a large firm needs funds for just a couple of months and doesn't want to deal with getting a loan, as this can be a lot quicker path to short-term funding at lower interest rates than banks have. And lastly, we have credit cards, which is a readily available line of credit. I'm sure you're all aware of how credit cards work. When using them for a business, they can be considered very risky as they have high interest rates. And if you're late with a payment, the interest rate can go up drastically. While it can be easy and convenient to obtain a credit card and use it, it's generally seen as a last resort. So today we discussed trade credit, family and friends, commercial banks and short-term loans, factoring accounts receivable, commercial paper, and credit cards. Thanks for watching.
created using Powtoon.